Welcome to the Nourishing Africa podcast. Today, I have here Siyabonga Mngoma, the CEO of Abundance Wholesome Foods in South Africa. She will be discussing with us today blogging as a tool for driving customer engagement in agri-food business. Given the latest digital trends, it is becoming more important for agri-food SMEs to have a healthy, interactive relationship with their customers. Recent trends have shown that blogging is useful for keeping customers engaged, receiving feedback, and understanding their needs. The question, however, is how can agri-food businesses use blogging to make their brands visible? As an agri-food entrepreneur, how do you provide quality content that keeps your target audience interested in your brand? Today, our guest will talk about how she, as the CEO of Abundance Wholesome Foods, run a blog that focuses on making sure potential and existing customers know what goes into their food. How does this strategy help Abundance Wholesome Foods to drive customer engagement? Does this translate to sales at all? Let's listen to Siyabonga's views. Hi Siyabonga, please introduce yourself and your company to our listeners out there.
My name is Siyabonga. I'm based in South Africa in Johannesburg, and I run an organic fresh produce home delivery service. Our social enterprise was created in 2018 with the aim to solve issues of access to organic produce, particularly to people with lifestyle diseases. Our service is online, a website online store where customers shop, and also caters for a blog with curated content on well-being. Our blog articles mostly highlight food as medicine, as well as topics on sustainability around food and agriculture.
Thank you, Siyabonga. It is quite an interesting topic we're discussing today. So I'll start with this first question. Why is digital customer engagement important for agri-food businesses right now in this day and age?
Customer engagement is important for an agri-food business. Customers are becoming more health conscious, and with the African continent experiencing peaking volumes of people suffering from lifestyle diseases, it is important that we consciously drive messages that highlight the role of food in well-being. Many studies have shown the impacts from eating habits and the risk of disease. Some foods induce chronic health conditions, while other foods have medicinal properties for healing and improving one's health. So, as food growers and producers, it is very important that we engage customers about issues around food, be it eating for nourishment during celebrations or healing our bodies while maintaining environmental sustainability. The major food source is plants, and how these plants are grown is important. So one has to ask themselves where their food comes from. Who has grown that food and how was it grown? Were chemicals used, and what is the impact of those chemicals in one's body? These are some of the important topics that an agri-food business needs to communicate and engage on with customers. This engagement is empowering to both customers and the food producer, and eventually there is a relationship built which leads to loyalty and trust between the two.
Indeed, these are critical issues. It is very important to follow consumer behavior and customer trends, especially right now. So moving on, how has blogging helped Abundance Wholesome Foods so far?
Blogging has helped Abundance. We have managed to create a presence in the industry. It has helped us create a digital footprint. Because we have an article every week, this has grown our online presence. Besides our web-based blog, the additional publishing on social media platforms has helped to amplify our influence, which has led to the growth of our customer base as well as our social media followers. But I must stress, a strong digital footprint through blogging is not an overnight achievement. It takes consistent weekly publishing and paid advertising for social media to be able to see results. Blogging has helped me to better understand the concept of food as medicine. A lot of research goes into our articles, so that helps to gain knowledge about the space that we operate in. We have also created partnerships with other organizations. Because of blogging and our solid online presence, we share our articles with another agri platform, and that increases our brand awareness. Recently, we were approached by an author. She created an ebook, which was a collection of essays from food industry role players. And one of our blog articles was repurposed for the ebook. So while we consider ourselves still young in this space, our online presence has brought us brand awareness in a very cost-efficient way. Granted, the time to write can be quantified into monetary value, but for us as a self-funded startup, it is a sacrifice in time instead of paying an advertising agency for a brand awareness campaign, which will definitely be more costly.
Amazing insight. Thank you, Siyabonga. So what distinguishes blogging from other tools that connect customers to your business?
Blogging easily distinguishes itself from other tools when connecting with customers. For Abundance, one of the focus areas is to raise awareness about food grown organically or using traditional farming methods. So there's both an educational aspect as well as information sharing to our business. And we considered various channels, and we realized that blogging is by far the best channel to deliver the type of content that we engage on. Social media is great for some businesses, and even for us, it's good, but it has limitations. Rather use social media to amplify your blog's reach and public interaction. Blogging is great, but the content is very critical. It must be concise, it must be informative, meaningful, and helpful. If you can make content about vegetables and herbs entertaining, that's even better.
That is very much true. So what's that secret to creating unique content that keeps your customers active and interested?
Creating content that keeps customers active and engaged is not easy. But what we have observed from our own content, articles that are personal, meaning content that is easily applicable, those have done well. For example, recently I wrote an article on edible leaves, highlighting how some leaves are nutritious and can be eaten. I didn't know that carrot leaves can be a good substitute for parsley. But a customer shared that with me, and I started researching other leaves that are edible. So sharing those kind of findings, which gets one more dishes out of just one vegetable. Also, content that relates to indigenous knowledge is popular on our blog. This resonates because it is nostalgic. It takes one back to how their mother or their grandmother prepared food, their childhood relationship with food, and that results in some consciousness and awareness. And eventually one starts reflecting on their adult relationship with food. And I believe if we can build nourishing relationships with food, we would be halfway to solving some of our health challenges. So content that is relevant and have some resonance to your audience is the key to keeping customers interested. I mentioned in another podcast the other day, there's not much relevancy in us writing about quinoa, which is not grown in our country. But if we write about our own variety of yams, amadumbe, customers can easily relate to that. And that topic is more personal, and that builds connection with the customer.
Interesting insights there, Siyabonga. Thank you so much. But then, how does blogging help you to receive feedback from your customers? I mean, does it help to make the blog an interactive website? How does that work for you?
Blogging helps to receive feedback from customers if the content is meaningful and it helps in their eating habits. Then they are more receptive, and that triggers engagement. I go back to the edible leaves blog post. In that article, we wrote about vegetables that are in season. So more households have or recently have consumed one of those veggies, and that is meaningful. With the effects of the coronavirus pandemic on household finances, we are being helpful by highlighting how your rand can stretch with certain foods. For example, you don't throw away pumpkin or beetroot leaves, but use them as you would another leafy vegetable. Either you get appreciative feedback or someone is sharing their own vegetable tip. Although we don't have an interactive blog, I think it can be helpful because you are able to initiate engagement. We don't have it just because we don't have enough resources to stretch that far.
Interesting. Thank you so much for those amazing insights. To wrap this up, I would like you to share some top challenges and problems that may arise when using blogging to drive customer engagement in the agri-food space, and how can these challenges be mitigated?
Challenges that arise when using blogging to drive customer engagement varies. For example, it could be issues of content that is not relevant. Businesses need to know and understand their audiences. Be specific who your target audience is. Then you write with that audience in mind. I made an example earlier. It is not relevant for us to write and promote quinoa when talking about eating for health. And this crop is not easily accessible in our region. It may be too expensive if you do find it. Some may not be able to grow it for themselves. And also you don't know how it was grown. And then you consider its carbon footprint for it to get to South Africa. Besides not promoting our own crops, there's just not much relevancy to our community. It is considered a superfood, yes, but we do have our own regional superfoods. Another challenge is the issue of content that is factual. In this digital age, there's so much content available and it is easily accessible. So you never want to be found sharing incorrect messages. And to mitigate this, do research on the topic you're writing about. Engage experts on that particular topic because customers have information on their fingertips and they will challenge you, which could result them in losing confidence in your business. If you're not sure of something, don't write about it. If there are mixed messages from research, mention that and avoid further confusion. Also, it helps to use credible sources and you credit them in your posts. You provide links to research and any other information backing your position. Critical insights I can share with other agri-food entrepreneurs interested in blogging as a tool. I would say be very clear about your message and be consistent. Have a content strategy which is backed by research and maintain your focus area. A monthly content plan is very useful. Also good to maintain consistency. If you decide to post once or twice every week, keep to that so your customers and potential customers become loyal. You are delivering on their expectations. Make sure you have the right resources for the long haul. If you are a web-based blog, use other platforms to increase your reach and amplify your messaging. Procure services of a content creator if it's not your strength. At Abundance, we have a content creator. I write the articles and Nicole does the lovely things to make sure that we have a consistent online presence and making sure that our messaging is relevant and monitors our online presence to be able to adjust accordingly. Finally, blogging success comes with a lot of work, and I must emphasize it is not an overnight success. It has taken us over a year to be where we are. Although we have brand awareness, our customer base is increasing, engagement is still tricky. So one needs to be prepared and recognize one's strengths and weaknesses, and importantly, one needs to enjoy their subject matter.